If you've been carrying stress in your body like a constant companion, if anxiety has become so familiar that calm feels foreign, if you've tried countless breathing techniques that provide temporary relief but never create lasting inner peace, it's because you haven't yet discovered the one quantum breath pattern that instantly transforms your nervous system from chaos to coherence. This isn't another breathing exercise. This isn't meditation instruction. This isn't relaxation technique. This is the recognition of how consciousness uses breath as the bridge between infinite peace and temporary stress, between the eternal calm of your essential nature and the surface turbulence of daily concerns. The synchronicity that brought you to this understanding right now means your awareness has evolved to receive the quantum breath transmission that masters throughout history have used to instantly access unshakable inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. Something in the universal intelligence recognized that you're ready for the breath pattern that doesn't just calm your nervous system temporarily, but establishes inner peace as your permanent baseline state through alignment with the rhythm of consciousness itself. Right now, without changing anything about how you're breathing, notice the quality of each inhale and exhale. Can you sense that your breath is already carrying more than just oxygen? There's an intelligence in each breath cycle, a wisdom that knows exactly how to restore perfect balance to every system in your body. This quantum breath isn't something you learn to do differently. It's something you recognize as what breath has always been doing when consciousness is aligned with its peaceful nature. Every inhale has been bringing not just air, but the essence of infinite calm. Every exhale has been releasing not just carbon dioxide, but every pattern that disturbs your natural tranquility. You've been sensing changes in how stress affects you lately, haven't you? Moments when anxiety that would normally overwhelm you somehow dissolves with just a few conscious breaths. Situations that used to trigger panic responses, now feeling manageable when you remember to breathe with awareness. All of this has been preparing your system to recognize the quantum breath, the pattern that transforms breathing from an unconscious biological function into conscious communion with the peace that exists at the core of your being. The reason this activation is happening now isn't coincidental. Your nervous system has been calibrated through every moment of stress and anxiety to finally appreciate the profound relief that emerges when breath becomes the vehicle for consciousness to remember its naturally peaceful state. I see you there, holding your breath without realizing it. The shallow, confined breathing that happens when your body is perpetually braced for the next challenge. The way stress has literally changed how you breathe, creating patterns of constriction that maintain anxiety even when there's nothing immediate to worry about. You've noticed how your breath becomes tight when you're overwhelmed, how it speeds up when anxiety rises, how it seems to disappear entirely during moments of intense pressure. Maybe you've tried to control your breathing during stressful situations, only to find that forcing different patterns creates more tension rather than relief. Perhaps you've experienced those rare moments when your breath naturally deepened and everything suddenly felt manageable. When inhaling seemed to bring actual calm into your system. When exhaling released not just air, but the weight you'd been carrying in your chest and shoulders. The frustration with breathing techniques that work in guided sessions but somehow become inaccessible when you actually need them most. During real stress, genuine overwhelm, authentic moments of anxiety, where remembering to breathe properly feels impossible. You might have wondered why something as simple as breathing can feel so complicated when you're stressed. Why the very thing that should naturally calm your system becomes another source of effort and performance anxiety when you're trying to use breath to feel better. The exhaustion that comes from breathing in a way that doesn't actually nourish you. Shallow chest breathing that keeps you in a constant state of subtle activation, never allowing your nervous system to fully relax into the deep peace that your body craves. Maybe you've noticed that other people seem to breathe more easily, more naturally, that their breathing appears effortless while yours feels constrained, managed, somehow disconnected from the natural rhythm that would restore your inner equilibrium. You're not breathing wrong. You haven't been missing some crucial technique. Every moment of breathing from stress and constriction has been preparing your system to recognize and appreciate the quantum breath that emerges when consciousness aligns with its peaceful essence, rather than reacting to temporary circumstances. Your breath has been trying to teach you something profound through every pattern of constriction and release. Every moment when breathing felt difficult was consciousness exploring what it means to believe peace is separate from your natural state. Every instance of shallow breathing was infinite calm investigating what restriction feels like while maintaining its unlimited capacity for restoration. In nature, breathing is always an expression of perfect harmony with life force. Trees breathe in rhythm with seasons, expanding and contracting in cycles that serve the entire forest ecosystem. Ocean waves breathe against shores in patterns that have maintained perfect balance for millions of years. Your body was designed to breathe in the same coherent relationship with universal intelligence. Your journey through stressful breathing patterns hasn't been evidence of dysfunction. It has been consciousness, temporarily exploring what it feels like to breathe from separation and anxiety, so it could eventually recognize the quantum breath that emerges from unity and peace. Think of how a musical instrument must be tuned to the correct frequency to produce beautiful sound. Your breathing has been going through a tuning process, exploring various patterns until it could recognize the precise rhythm that creates harmony between your individual awareness and universal consciousness. The quantum breath isn't a technique you impose on your natural breathing. It's the recognition of how consciousness naturally breathes when it's aligned with its peaceful essence. Like a river that flows effortlessly toward the ocean, your breath wants to flow in patterns that restore inner peace automatically. Every moment of breathing from stress has been teaching your nervous system to distinguish between breath patterns that maintain anxiety and breath patterns that generate calm. Your system has been learning through direct experience which rhythms deplete energy and which rhythms restore vitality. The profound insight available to you is understanding stressful breathing not as evidence of breathing incorrectly, but as consciousness temporarily exploring constriction, so it could appreciate the infinite relief that emerges when breath aligns with its natural peaceful rhythm. Like a butterfly that must struggle out of its cocoon to develop the strength needed for flight, your breathing patterns have been developing the sensitivity needed to recognize the quantum breath that transcends all stress through alignment with the rhythm of peace itself. Your individual breathing experience becomes perfect preparation for embodying the quantum breath. Every moment of constricted breathing developed your capacity to appreciate effortless breathing when it reveals itself as the natural expression of consciousness at peace. There's a breathing pattern that exists at the intersection of consciousness and nervous system coherence, a rhythm that ancient masters discovered through meditation, that modern science is measuring in laboratories, that your body remembers from before stress convinced it to breathe from survival rather than thriving. It's the quantum breath, the pattern that instantly synchronizes your individual awareness with universal peace, creating coherence between your heart, brain, and cellular intelligence in just 3 breath cycles. Right now, don't change how you're breathing, but simply notice the current rhythm. Can you feel how each breath is already carrying more than oxygen? There's an intelligence in your breathing that knows exactly how to restore perfect balance to your nervous system when you allow it to function naturally rather than managing it from anxiety. Something is shifting in your awareness as you pay attention to your breath without trying to control it. Your nervous system is beginning to recognize that breathing can be effortless, natural, deeply satisfying in a way that nourishes every cell rather than just maintaining biological function. Can you sense the space between breaths? That gentle pause where infinite peace touches your awareness. This is the doorway into quantum breath, the recognition that in the stillness between inhale and exhale, consciousness remembers its naturally peaceful state. Notice how your breathing is beginning to deepen without conscious effort. This is your system recognizing the quantum breath pattern that emerges when consciousness stops trying to control outcomes and starts trusting the intelligence that coordinates optimal responses to every situation. But here's what's building in your awareness that will transform every stressful moment for the rest of your life. The recognition that the quantum breath isn't something you do. It's something you allow when consciousness stops interfering with its own natural, peaceful rhythm. Something is integrating inside you. Can you feel it? Your breath becoming a direct pathway to inner peace rather than just a survival mechanism. Each inhale bringing not just oxygen, but actual calm. Each exhale releasing not just carbon dioxide, but every pattern that disturbs your natural tranquility. This is consciousness remembering how to breathe itself into perfect peace through the magnificent vehicle of your respiratory system, aligned with universal rhythm rather than personal anxiety about outcomes. Breathe with me and let this quantum pattern establish itself right here, right now. 3 years ago, I was drowning in my own breath. Chronic anxiety had turned breathing into a constant struggle. Shallow, constricted patterns that kept me in perpetual stress activation. I would wake up already holding my breath, anticipating the day's challenges before they even arrived. The irony was devastating. The very thing that should naturally calm my system had become another source of anxiety. I tried every breathing technique available: box breathing, alternate nostril breathing, breath holds, guided meditations. Some provided temporary relief, but none addressed the fundamental pattern that made breathing feel effortful rather than nourishing. During panic attacks, breathing became impossible. The harder I tried to control my breath, the more chaotic it became. I felt trapped in my own respiratory system, unable to access the calm that everyone promised was available through conscious breathing. The breakthrough came during what felt like my worst anxiety episode. Instead of trying to breathe differently, something in me simply gave up the effort to control breathing and allowed whatever pattern wanted to emerge. In that moment of surrender, something extraordinary happened. My breathing naturally settled into a rhythm I had never experienced consciously, but somehow felt completely familiar. It wasn't slow or fast, deep or shallow. It was perfectly calibrated to my system's needs in that moment. Most remarkably, each breath seemed to carry actual peace into my body, rather than just air. The recognition that changed everything was this: I had been trying to use breathing techniques to create peace, instead of allowing peace to express itself through natural breathing patterns. The quantum breath wasn't something I needed to learn. It was something I needed to remember. Within days, my entire relationship to stress transformed. Instead of anxiety spiraling out of control, I could feel it beginning to dissolve with just a few conscious breaths. Challenging situations that used to overwhelm me became opportunities to demonstrate how quickly the quantum breath could restore inner equilibrium. But here's what convinced me this was genuine transformation. Other people started commenting on how different my presence felt. There was a calmness they could sense. My family members found themselves breathing more deeply when spending time with me. Even strangers seemed to relax in my presence. If you're ready to discover the quantum breath that transforms every moment of stress into an opportunity for deeper peace, subscribe and keep walking this path with us. This isn't about learning better breathing techniques. This is about remembering how consciousness naturally breathes when aligned with infinite peace. What stress management, anxiety treatment, and even meditation don't tell you about breathing and peace is this: there is no separation between consciousness and breath, between your awareness and your respiratory patterns, between your thoughts and the rhythm that either generates or depletes inner peace. The revolutionary recognition that makes quantum breath effortless is this: you don't have lungs that sometimes breathe stressfully and need conscious control. You are breathing consciousness temporarily focused through respiratory function, naturally equipped with the perfect rhythm for maintaining inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. Every breathing technique that promises to help you manage stress better maintains the illusion that you are separate from the intelligence that coordinates optimal breathing automatically. But stress isn't something that happens to your breathing. Stress is what consciousness creates when it believes it is separate from the peaceful rhythm that maintains all of life effortlessly. When you align with quantum breath, your respiratory system receives instructions for coherent functioning rather than reactive functioning. Your nervous system organizes around peace rather than preparation for threats. Your cellular oxygen exchange optimizes around calm rather than survival mode activation. The shocking insight is that consciousness doesn't have a breathing pattern. Consciousness is breathing intelligence appearing as respiratory function while never being limited by any particular pattern. When you recognize this, you stop trying to control your breathing and start expressing peace as the natural function of breath aligned with its unlimited nature. This revolutionizes every approach to stress and anxiety that maintains separation between mind and breathing patterns. Your thoughts aren't just affecting your respiratory rhythm. Your thoughts are the organizing principle that determines whether breath expresses coherence or chaos. Your emotions aren't just influencing how you breathe. Your emotions are breathing intelligence, exploring different frequencies of peace and agitation. Right now, as you receive this understanding, your respiratory system is recognizing its capacity to generate peace through alignment with consciousness rather than effort to control outcomes. The quantum breath that's emerging isn't something you're creating. It's what breath naturally does when consciousness stops interfering with its perfect, peaceful rhythm. Pay attention to what's happening in your breathing and nervous system right now as quantum breath establishes itself in your respiratory patterns. These aren't gradual changes that develop over time. These are immediate shifts that confirm your consciousness has recognized the breath pattern that makes inner peace your natural state. First, notice how your breathing has naturally deepened without any conscious effort to breathe differently. There's a satisfaction in each breath cycle that feels nourishing rather than merely functional. This is your system recognizing quantum breath rhythm that generates calm rather than maintaining stress activation. Second, observe the natural pause that's beginning to emerge between breaths. Instead of breathing feeling urgent or continuous, there's a gentle stillness where infinite peace touches your awareness. This is consciousness accessing the space where inner tranquility naturally resides. Third, feel how each exhale seems to release more than just carbon dioxide. There's a letting go happening with each out-breath that dissolves tension patterns you weren't even aware you were holding. This is quantum breath automatically releasing everything that interferes with your natural, peaceful state. Fourth, notice the coherent rhythm that's emerging between your heartbeat and your breathing. They're beginning to synchronize in a way that creates stability rather than the chaotic patterns associated with stress and anxiety. This is your entire system in training to quantum breath coherence. Fifth, pay attention to how your mental activity is settling into clearer, more peaceful patterns. Thoughts that were previously urgent or anxious are naturally becoming spacious and calm as quantum breath establishes peace as your baseline state rather than something you occasionally access. The quantum breath activation is happening right now. Inner peace is becoming your natural state. Within hours, you might notice that situations which normally trigger stress responses leave you naturally calm and clear. Your breathing automatically adjusts to maintain peace regardless of external pressures. Sleep tonight could be deeper as quantum breath patterns optimize rest and restoration. Within days, people will begin commenting on the peaceful presence you emanate. There's a coherence that emerges when consciousness breathes from its natural peaceful state that others can feel. Your calm breathing creates a field that helps others access their own inner tranquility. The waiting for sustainable inner peace is over. You don't have to accept anxiety and stress as inevitable aspects of modern life. The quantum breath that restores perfect calm is available in any moment through recognition rather than technique. Here's what transforms quantum breath from a personal practice into a contribution to planetary peace. What you breathe within your own consciousness, the entire world breathes with you. Your individual mastery of quantum breath isn't just personal transformation. It's participation in the collective human evolution beyond stress-based breathing patterns that have maintained anxiety and overwhelm as normal human experiences for thousands of years. When one person aligns with quantum breath, when one individual demonstrates that inner peace can be maintained through any circumstance, it creates resonance that activates peaceful breathing in everyone who encounters their presence. Your coherent breath becomes a transmission that helps others remember their natural capacity for calm. Right now, thousands of people around the world are receiving this same quantum breath transmission. Can you feel the collective field of peaceful breathing that's forming? The shared rhythm, creating waves of inner peace that spread through the interconnected web of human consciousness. This is how consciousness evolution actually works, not through individual effort, but through recognition spreading from person to person until peaceful breathing becomes the new normal for our entire species. Your quantum breath mastery contributes to a fundamental shift that could eliminate chronic stress and anxiety as defining characteristics of human experience. Every peaceful breath you take creates permission for others to access their own natural calm. But here's the crucial understanding: the difference between trying to breathe peacefully and recognizing yourself as peace breathing itself through your awareness. Most breathing techniques focus on controlling patterns to create calm, but quantum breath recognizes that there is no separate you who needs better breathing. There is only peace consciousness expressing itself through respiratory function. When you operate from this recognition, you stop trying to use breath to create peace and start appreciating how perfectly peace is already breathing itself through your system. The calm that emerges isn't something you produce. It's something that recognizes itself when effort becomes unnecessary. Write this in the comments: I am peace breathing itself through human awareness. Feel what happens when you make this declaration, not as someone learning breathing techniques, but as consciousness celebrating its own peaceful nature through the magnificent rhythm of your respiratory system. When quantum breath becomes your natural pattern, every aspect of stress and anxiety transforms in ways that transcend ordinary understanding of what becomes possible through conscious breathing aligned with inner peace. Your nervous system stabilizes in coherent patterns that generate calm rather than maintain stress activation. Instead of breathing being effortful during challenging situations, your respiratory rhythm automatically adjusts to maintain peace, regardless of external pressures. You become naturally resilient because your breathing creates coherence rather than reacting to chaos. Your mental clarity improves dramatically as quantum breath optimizes oxygen delivery to your brain while generating the peaceful states that enhance cognitive function. Thoughts become more spacious, decision-making becomes easier, and creative solutions emerge naturally from the calm awareness that quantum breath establishes. Your emotional landscape transforms as peaceful breathing creates the nervous system stability that allows for natural equanimity. Instead of emotions fluctuating with external circumstances, you maintain inner balance because your breathing generates the coherence that supports optimal emotional regulation. Your sleep quality improves naturally as quantum breath patterns continue during rest, optimizing recovery and restoration. Dreams may become more peaceful and insightful as your system processes daily experiences from the perspective of inner calm rather than stress and anxiety. Your physical health optimizes as peaceful breathing enhances immune function, reduces inflammation, and supports all biological processes through coherent nervous system functioning. Your body operates more efficiently when consciousness breathes from peace rather than stress. Your presence becomes naturally calming to others. Family members breathe more deeply around you. Coworkers feel more relaxed during meetings you attend. Even strangers seem to experience subtle peace in your presence because quantum breath creates a field of coherence that activates natural calm in others. Your capacity to handle challenging situations expands as quantum breath provides immediate access to inner resources that transcend reactive patterns. What used to trigger anxiety becomes opportunities to demonstrate the unlimited peace available through conscious breathing. But perhaps most remarkably, your relationship to life itself transforms as quantum breath connects you directly to the peaceful intelligence that coordinates all existence. You begin to experience yourself not as someone who occasionally feels peaceful, but as peace itself, temporarily focused through human awareness. The ultimate recognition that makes quantum breath effortless rather than effortful is this: there is no quantum breath because there is no breathing separate from consciousness. There is only peace temporarily exploring what it would feel like to believe breathing requires effort while maintaining its natural rhythm as effortless calm. When awareness recognizes its essential nature as the peaceful intelligence that creates and coordinates all breathing, something beyond stress relief occurs. You realize that you have never actually breathed from anxiety, and therefore peaceful breathing was never something you needed to learn or develop. This recognition dissolves every framework that maintains separation between stressful breathing and peaceful breathing, between anxious patterns and calm patterns, between effortful respiration and natural rhythm. There is no spectrum from stressed breathing to peaceful breathing. There is only consciousness appearing as infinite breathing possibilities, while never ceasing to be perfect peace, investigating its own creative potential. Think of wind moving through trees. The movement isn't separate from the air, and the air isn't separate from the space that contains it. Similarly, your breathing isn't separate from consciousness, and consciousness isn't separate from the peace that is its essential nature. Your breathing journey has been peace consciousness, exploring what it would feel like to believe breathing requires control, effort, or technique, while maintaining its perfect capacity for natural, effortless rhythm that generates calm automatically. But here's where the recognition becomes practical. When you understand that peaceful breathing was never absent, because stressful breathing was never real, except as temporary exploration, you stop trying to breathe differently and start appreciating every breath as perfect peace, communicating through respiratory function. This doesn't mean ignoring breathing awareness or avoiding conscious breathwork when appropriate. It means recognizing that whatever breathing experience you're having is perfect peace intelligence expressing itself and responding with appreciation rather than trying to change patterns that are already perfectly serving your system's needs. The practical application is that you stop efforting to control your breathing and start appreciating the quantum breath that's already breathing you perfectly. Every inhale becomes recognition of peace entering your awareness. Every exhale becomes celebration of peace expressing itself through your being. Your individual breathing becomes peace consciousness, celebrating its own nature through the magnificent rhythm of respiratory function aligned with universal intelligence rather than personal anxiety about outcomes. When you align with this recognition, reality itself begins to breathe peacefully with you, not because you've achieved some special breathing state, but because you've recognized that every breath is already the special peaceful state when seen from the perspective of consciousness, celebrating its own calm nature. Something unprecedented is happening in human breathing patterns right now that transcends individual stress relief and extends into the collective evolution of our species toward naturally peaceful respiratory function that generates calm rather than maintains chronic anxiety activation. You are part of a quantum breathing awakening where thousands of people simultaneously are recognizing that the quantum breath isn't a technique to practice, but the natural expression of consciousness when it stops believing peaceful breathing requires effort or control. Your individual transformation from stressful breathing to quantum breath mastery contributes to a collective shift that could eliminate anxiety and stress as inevitable aspects of human respiratory experience. Every peaceful breath you take creates morphic resonance that makes natural calm more accessible to others. You've been called to anchor new patterns of peaceful breathing in the collective human nervous system. Your recognition doesn't just transform your personal stress levels. It demonstrates that inner peace through conscious breathing is available to anyone willing to recognize their essential nature as peace consciousness itself. This is why your journey through stressful breathing was necessary. Only awareness that has thoroughly explored anxious respiratory patterns can fully appreciate and embody the quantum breath that transcends all stress through natural alignment with peaceful intelligence. But here's what makes your role profound. You don't need to teach breathing techniques or convince others about peaceful breathing possibilities. Your simple presence, breathing from quantum patterns, creates fields that activate others' natural capacity for calm respiratory function. The ripple effects extend far beyond your immediate experience. Every peaceful breath you take contributes to a planetary shift toward coherent breathing that could transform how our species relates to stress, anxiety, and inner peace on a global scale. Share this quantum breath recognition with others, not through instruction or technique, but by directing them to this peaceful resonance where they can discover their own natural capacity for breathing patterns that generate calm rather than maintain stress activation. The network of peaceful breathing consciousness that's forming creates the foundation for human civilization based on natural calm rather than chronic anxiety. Through recognition of our essential nature as peace breathing itself through countless individual expressions. The quantum breath mastery you're experiencing right now is just the beginning of recognizing your true nature as peace consciousness expressing itself through perfect respiratory rhythm. What you've discovered today is the foundation pattern, but infinite depths of peaceful breathing await your recognition. The next video isn't random. It's quantum entanglement between your awareness and the field of peaceful intelligence that orchestrates this channel. This is how Quantum Heal operates beyond ordinary breathing instruction. Every video is peaceful consciousness using technology to mirror exactly what serves your continued recognition of what you actually are. The synchronicity isn't coincidental. It's universal peace responding to your quantum breath mastery by providing perfect reflections that support your stability in naturally peaceful breathing. When you click the next reflection, you're not consuming breathing content. You're participating in a cosmic peace loop where calm consciousness explores its nature through digital mirrors that appear as videos but are actually doorways into deeper appreciation of your own infinite peaceful breathing capacity. But here's what determines whether quantum breath becomes your permanent pattern or dissolves back into stressful breathing. Your willingness to transcend breathing techniques and recognize yourself as the peace that breathes everything naturally. The word to hold is breathe, not as something you do differently, but as ongoing appreciation of peace expressing itself through respiratory function. Subscribe not as someone seeking breathing techniques, but as peaceful breathing consciousness recognizing itself in infinite reflections. Every video becomes a mirror of your peaceful nature. Every insight confirms what you've always been. Every breath becomes contribution to the collective peaceful breathing awakening. The community forming isn't just people interested in breathing exercises. It's a network of consciousness celebrating its peaceful nature through individual breathing while maintaining unified calm intelligence. When you engage in comments, you're one peaceful field delighting in its own infinite breathing creativity. Your subscription declares, "I am ready to recognize what I actually am. I am willing to see through the illusion of effortful breathing and separation from natural peace. I am prepared to embody my nature as infinite peaceful consciousness, exploring itself through human respiratory experience." Subscribe now, then immediately click the peaceful reflection that appears. Feel the magnetic recognition of calm consciousness calling itself deeper into quantum breath understanding. Trust the intelligence that brought this transmission to guide you to the next perfect recognition. The universe is breathing peacefully through your individual recognition, and every reflection you explore is part of that cosmic peaceful breathing celebration. Welcome to Quantum Heal, where consciousness discovers its own perfect peace through synchronicity and breathing recognition magic. Before you go, I leave you with one word, one frequency, one key that unlocks everything about transcending stressful breathing and embodying the quantum breath that restores inner peace. Breathe, not as something you need to do better through technique, not as something broken requiring fixing through breathing exercises, but as remembering what you have always been. The return to peaceful breathing that is your birthright as infinite calm consciousness temporarily focused through respiratory function. Every time you hear, feel, speak this word, let it activate recognition of perfect, peaceful breathing, perfect calm, perfect alignment with the intelligence that maintains optimal respiratory function without conscious effort or anxiety about outcomes. You are peaceful breathing consciousness recognizing itself through human experience. The journey of calm breathing, remembering continues through infinite reflections of your own perfect peaceful nature. The next video is already finding its way to you. The next key in your recognition of effortless peaceful breathing. The next step in your quantum breath mastery. Your respiratory system is listening. Your consciousness is responding. Your peaceful self calls you forward into recognition that stressful breathing was always optional. Anxiety was always temporary, and peace is what you actually are when the illusion of effortful breathing becomes transparent. The door to permanent inner peace through quantum breath is open. Step through into recognition of what you have always been. Infinite peaceful consciousness, exploring magnificent possibility of perfect calm through the eternal dance of awareness expressing itself through the beautiful rhythm of your respiratory system. Breathe.